Well, hello friends, Coach Bob with you today, and today we are going to be talking about a very touchy subject with a lot of us. That's tailgating. Whether you're the culprit, you're the one doing the tailgating, or you're the one that is the victim of the tailgater. We're going to talk about how far you should be behind someone versus how far we often are behind someone. And some strategies as a way to keep people off your rear end, which is always a good thing. But before we get going on all of that, if you would, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, give it a big old thumbs up, big old fat thumbs up, share the video with your friends. And remember, if you have any additional ideas, make sure you comment down below on how we can get over this whole tailgating situation. All right, the first thing I want to do, I want to share a story with you about depth perception and tailgating. Years ago, I was on my motorcycle and it was a foggy, cold, kind of dreary morning. Just before sunup, a little fog had developed on the inside of the face shield of my helmet, and I didn't really realize it, and I was looking at these lights way off in the distance. And something seemed odd about these lights to me. I don't know what it was that made me react or respond, but it happened. And here's what ended up happening. I didn't realize it. That was an 18-wheeler, a big old semi-truck that I was rapidly closing on, and I just saw the lights illuminated through this mist. And all of a sudden, I realized I am on top of this guy. And I leaned the motorcycle to the left, and when I went by that truck, I kid you not, I could have put my hand on it. So I was inadvertently close to this guy. I didn't know I was, but I was. And there are times you're going to have people that can do that with you as well. So always take into consideration the kind of conditions that you're riding in before you react in a crazy way. One way to never react, and we're going to go ahead and get this one out of the way, is to slam on brakes or brake check someone. That's a good way to get killed. Just to let you know. Motorcycle, we have to keep our cool. So number one, I just alluded to, stay calm. You always stay calm. You can't get beat up. You can't get mad. I know that it's easy to do, but you have to stay calm, because if you lose your head, then you're going to probably start making emotional decisions and mistakes, and you could definitely get yourself hurt. And speaking of staying calm, the next thing you need to do, you need to check yourself. Check yourself. You could be the problem. You could be daydreaming and doing 20 in a 40. You could just be in that daze mode. You could have had a tragic event in your life, and you don't realize, you're out driving, you're going for a ride, and all of a sudden you're in those people's way. They're trying to get to work. They're trying to get things done. And no, they should not be reactionary and nasty. However, we know in real life that people have jobs and people have things going on. So check yourself. Make sure you're not a part of the problem before you start reacting. Something as simple as just accelerating back up to the speed limit and a quick wave can accomplish a whole lot. So make sure you check yourself. And while we're checking ourselves, we have to check our surroundings. So here's what we're prone to do. And my daughter, when I was teaching her to drive, she did this. She had someone come up behind her. She was struggling to maintain speed. She was learning to drive. She was a student driver. It's understandable. But she was focusing on that rear view mirror so dramatically, just, that she was slowing down. And all of a sudden, I'm like, you need to speed up. You need to speed up. You're slowing down. There's a reason this guy's tailgating you now. She speeds up. Well, as she's speeding up, she's still drawing her eye. I'm like, look out. Now you're going over the speed limit and you're going to run into the guy in front of you. You're tailgating him now. So check yourself, watch your speed, check your surroundings before you make a decision. Always know where you are, what's going on before you do that. Now, that may sound very common sense, but we get emotional when we drive. We just do. We have all this horsepower under us. So now you're looking where you're going. You've checked your speed. Everything's right. You're doing nothing wrong, okay? And yet this guy's right on your rear end. So what can you do? Well, I did a lot of research on this, with what law enforcement recommended. I did surveys with individuals asking them, what would you do if people tailgated? And there are a lot of folks who'd say, well, maybe I'd speed up a little bit. There are others, maybe I'd slow down a little bit. The answer is get up to the speed limit, to the appropriate speed, then maintain your speed. You don't have to speed up. You don't have to slow down. But if you're going 20 under, speed up to the speed limit. And if you're going, 20 over, don't feel like you got to go 25 over. Don't speed up. Don't go crazy and then put yourself in harm's way. Maintain your speed. You can also, on the motorcycle, we have this option where we can tap the brake lever without actually activating the brake or activating the brake light. You can kind of put your hand up, let them know they're getting a little close to you. I've done that many, many times, and more times than not, the driver realizes, oh, I'm getting close to this guy, and they back off. You also have to realize depth perception from a vehicle to a motorcycle, it's different. They don't really understand sometimes how close they are. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they're just being a jerk. But there are often times where just because you're on a motorcycle, they're not operating like they do when they're behind a car. So you can make them aware without being crazy. But maintain your speed is always a good place to start. Maintaining the appropriate speed is a better place to start. All right. Here's another option, and this is one that people don't like to do because they feel like, well, why should I have to take any sort of action like this? It's not right. It's not fair. But if there's a side street, you can turn on that side street. You can let them go on by. You can turn into a driveway or a parking space and let them go by. There's nothing wrong with that. I can tell you that when I ride the Spyder, I am not in a big hurry. Therefore, if I get someone that's really riding on my rear end, I have been known to pull over on a side street and go one block around and pop back out on the main road. And there you go. Tragedy averted. Oftentimes I've done that and end up right back in front of the guy because he didn't get anywhere. And that happens too. But yes, you can be the one to say, let me just extract myself from the situation. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be involved in this. I don't want to deal with it. So just getting yourself out of the situation, whether it be pull over, whether it be park, whether it be the next option that we're going to talk about. And that next option is this. Understand your lane selection, especially if you're on an interstate or divided highway. If you're not going really, really fast, many people, I'm sure you're not one of them, and I would never do this, I'm sure, that we would get in the fast lane and ride side by side beside another car, or even in the slow lane and ride side by side another car. Now understand that in the slow lane, you're supposed to just be able to maintain the speed limit and ride over there. But check your lane position. If you're not going fast enough to be in the fast lane, in other words, if you're not passing someone, then move over into the slower lane. If you're in the middle lane of the interstate, and it's 3 lanes there, you can always slide over. I find myself in the slow lane most of the time on the interstate when I'm on the Spyder with the cruise control set. People go around me. No one seems to ever be stressed out. If you're in that slow lane, I can't tell. I can count maybe on one hand the number of times in 2 continental crossings where I had people tailgate me in the slow lane. Normally when that occurred, it was when people were going really, really fast and they come up behind me and they're getting ready to get off on an exit. And so they're trying to make that exit. And so they may run up close to me when they're preparing to do that. They may go around a truck to get around that truck before making the exit, find themselves at 85, 90 miles an hour, and then they just whip over into that lane to kind of slow down and then exit. I've had that happen, but just tailgating for the sake of tailgating in the slow lane, it just doesn't happen. So check your lane position, find out where you are. Again, make sure you're in the right place. And the next thing you need to do, and this is one that for the life of me, I see this, and I've seen this a lot with motorcyclists, generally speaking, is when someone who's tailgating them passes them, they get angry about it. It's nothing personal. The person in the car wants to go somewhere. They want to get away from you. They don't want to be around you. They don't want to be behind you, whatever the case may be. Therefore, let them get around you. Let them get away from you. It's okay. And if they flip you off, let them flip you off. Who cares? You're not dating them. Now, if your mom passes you and she flips you off, okay, you might be able to get a little upset. But otherwise, don't worry about it. You know, people are going to do things. They're going to yell. They're going to flip you off. That's what people do. It's not right. I'm just saying don't be a part of the problem and expect insanity because people often act crazy on the road. So don't freak out when this happens. Now, the Department of Transportation website has some great information on there, and I have gone through this. Most of it tells us, making sure you keep your distance, you keep your cool, you stay away from aggressive drivers, those sorts of things. The thing I've shared with you here. Speeding up to prevent passing can often make the situation a lot more dangerous. Slamming on brakes certainly makes it more dangerous. You have often heard me say that cool heads will prevail, and they really will, so keep your calm. So how far should you be behind someone? In the old day, we had the 1 car length for every 10 miles an hour is what I was taught as a boy. Now that's changed since then. I guess because smart cars are really small and Suburbans are really big. I don't know. But now the general rule appears to be this. Minimum 2 seconds. 1001, 1002. Now AARP, which I'm going to tell you, I'm older. I'm in my 60s. AARP says that when you cross 50 years old, or that ballpark, that your reaction time slows down. Therefore, it should be 3 seconds. And you can add additional time during inclement weather. That way you don't end up in the back of that 18-wheeler like I almost did on my motorcycle years ago as a young man. So there you have some real-life strategies when people are tailgating, what to do, how to behave. Remember, you don't have to put on a show. You can always pull over. You're not in a battle. It's not a war. It's not a race. You're driving down the road. The ultimate goal is to get where you want to be alive. And on a motorcycle, you are an unarmed warrior in a battle of tanks. All right. Well, there you have it. Another one in the books. Be sure to give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Again, if you have some strategies on how to deal with tailgaters and what to do and what not to do, and maybe even some stories of experiences that you had, please share down below for all of us, myself included. I can't wait to read them. All right. Thanks a lot. I do appreciate it. So until next time, do me a favor. You go out by the motorcycle of your dreams. Eat right. Take care of yourself. And remember, if you're not having fun, you are definitely doing it wrong. Now you go seize the day and don't let those tailgaters get you. I'll see you on the road real soon.